If you are into plants, fall is a good time to look for discounted plants at places such as Walmart, Lowe's, Ace Hardware, and Home Depot. Right now, where I live, there is a nice deal at Walmart on azaleas. I saw these on clearance for $10, so I decided to buy 2 containers for $20. Today I'm going to show you how you can tell if you have multiple plants in one container, how to separate the plants, and give you a garden tour of the plants I separated in the past. If you look at these 2 potted plants, you would think that I have 2 plants, but nope. In actuality, I do have 4. So it's like I got double the clearance price. In other words, instead of paying $20 for 2 plants, I actually ended up paying $20 for 4 plants. So that is a great deal. So I was okay to buy 1 plant per pot. I was not expecting to get 2 plants per pot. But when I inspected all of the potted plants, I noticed that each pot had 2 plants in there. In actuality, it's good, but it's also not good. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's because growers tend to grow multiple plants to stimulate the growth of both of the plants together. And then the bad thing is that when you try to separate the 2 plants, for example, one usually will be stunted, grows a lot slower than the other one. So one is typically more dominant than the other one. You do want to separate the multiple plants apart into their own separate plants. Just know that you might not have the same growth on each one of them. So if you're planning to say plant one here and one here, so more like a gate design, one here and one here, just know that probably will not have 2 plants growing at the same rate. So just keep that in mind. It works best if you have like a hedge of them or just plant them in different spots. So that way, even if you have one that grows slower, it's not going to be that noticeable or that makes a huge difference. And if you have 2 of them planking like an entryway or something like I have with my Stella Ruby Magnolia, one is growing a lot faster than the other one. So they don't look as attractive to somebody looking at the garden. So just keep that in mind. So the question is, how do I know I have 2 plants in one container? So let me show you close up. So if you look, you can see that I have 2 major stems. Like here's one. If you go down a little bit farther, you see I have 1 major stem right here, and then another one and another one right there. Sometimes it is kind of deceiving. You might not end up getting multiple plants, so you might have to go a little bit farther down to see if you do end up getting 2 separate stems. The very bottom there. So this one looks like I do have 2, and I just scratched with my nail right there. Sorry about that. And then let's look at this other one right here. So you see I have 2 major stems. I have one right here and one right here. So that's how it's not always a guarantee. Again, you might have to go a little bit farther down, but this one, since the 2 stems are slightly above the soil level, I could tell that you do have 2 separate plants there. So now that you know you have multiple plants in one container, how do you get it out? I do want to let you know that is one of the challenges of trying to save money and then trying to get multiple plants in one container. So you'll have to put in some work into separating the plants from the container. So I'll show you how I do that. You can, sometimes if it's a small plant, you can just separate them with your hands. Or if you have a bigger plant like this, you might need to maybe use something to cut it. Or you can also, you know, try to pry it open with your hands as well. So I might end up using a combination of those two things. At the end, I'll give you a garden tour of the plants that I have separated in the past. So I'm going to try to cut it straight across like that, and we'll see how it comes out. All right, let's see if it's going to be easy. I'm glad that it's not very root bound at all, so it might just come out easy. Try on the other side as well. This might end up being easier than I thought. Wow, look at that. It's easier than I thought. I don't think I damaged it that much. Wow. It's like a nice clean cut for the most part. Maybe I got it damaged a little bit here. All right, so same thing with this one. We're gonna try to go right through the middle right there where there's no stem. So right there. All right, so this is a pretty clean cut also. I damaged it a little bit right here and right there, but that's okay. I think it'll be just fine. This is the first one I did, and I take it back. So upon closer inspection, when I lean in to look more closely, I did cut through the stem here and around this area. So that's still okay. The plant will still have plenty of roots around to grow. So I was planning on putting these in the ground today, but because I have some damage, I'll wait until they harden off. All these are hardened off, maybe in a couple days, 2 or 3 days maybe, and plant them then. You can plant them right away because I've done that too, and they did just fine. But just for safety reason, we'll go ahead and wait. So as you saw, dividing the plants from one pot may be challenging, especially if the pot is root bound. As you saw, both of the pots actually were not root bound at all, so makes them easier to divide. All right, as promised, let me give you a tour of the plants that I did the same thing. Started off with buying them at a good price, either on sale or on clearance. Saw an opportunity to buy one container with at least 2 plants in there. So these plants were in the ground, I would say anywhere from 3 to 4 years now, and they have done beautifully. So let me go ahead and show you. All right, everybody, here they are. These are the Autumn Sangria Encore Azaleas. Please don't judge. Look at all that. That's what you get when you have clay soil. It stains your basement board. I think that's what you call it. So as you can see here, I have 3 plants over here. Here are the other 3, and excuse the cardboard. I do that when a place gets pretty weedy pretty fast, and this is my way to control it in the meantime. So I have 3 right here. So you could see I have 6. So that means that I bought 3 containers of plants and was able to divide each container into 2 plants. So you can see they're all doing beautifully. Now all of these started off as, I want to say, like the smallest container that I could purchase. They were pretty small to start off with. So this one, it's not doing that bad, but this may be, a couple of these are on the smaller side. If not, 3 of them are on the smaller side. So this is on the smaller side. This is bigger. That's on the smaller side as well. Let's look at these 3. So this one is on the smaller side compared to these 2. So like I mentioned, typically when you have multiple plants in one container, you always get one that's more vigorous and the other one tends to grow a lot slower. So as you can see, I have 6 plants, so 3 are not as big, but you can see you really can't tell all that much. Same thing here, you really can't tell, especially because this one is on its own, and with the 2 together right there, you really can't tell if you're just looking at it this way. All right, let's look at another azalea. And I apologize, I don't know the species of this one, but it produces white blooms. So I have one right here, one right there, and one right there. Now this particular plant, I bought 1 container, but I was able to separate the 1 container into 3 plants. You can see that that one is the biggest. Now, I wanted to let you know too that these plants have been moved a few times, so that could have stunted their growth or slowed their growth as well. But this one, regardless, is the biggest, so this is a more vigorous growing one. And this is the tiniest one right here, and this is the second biggest. So you can see, so I have a hedge of it over here. Now I know eventually these 2 are going to catch up to that one, and I can always prune that one. So I know that going into it. So right now they're not a big deal for me, and I have other plants. Like right now I have the pink muhly grass just dominating this area right now, so you really can't tell all that much. So anyway, yeah, just to let you know, just make sure that if you do want them to be at the same growing rate, you might not get that. You might have to wait. You might have to be patient about it. All right, lastly, let's look at these 2 right here. This is the Stella Ruby Magnolia. So aesthetically speaking, this is not what you want at an entryway. You don't want 2 plants that you got from 1 container be planted like this on either end, because you know that one is going to grow a lot faster than the other one. Now this one has been catching up pretty quickly. It started off a lot smaller than this guy right here. If you wanted to prune the bigger one back, you could, to get them to be at the same size as well. So that's another option that you could do, is prune the one that's more vigorous more often than the slow growing one. So in conclusion, if you would like to save money on plants, and who does not want to save money on plants these days, you could look for a potential of a container having more than 1 plant that you could purchase. That way it's like getting half off of something that's already half off. So that's how I look at it. Just know dividing the plants from the one container can be challenging, but can be done, especially if it's not root bound like you saw. And make sure that you go slowly and be very careful not to take so much of the roots, if at all possible. And also know your plants. Now, I know that azaleas do well in our zone here, and they are pretty hardy, so they could take, some nicks and cuts. Just plan on doing some research on the plants that you are dividing, and if they are hardy plants, they should be okay. They should bounce back pretty good. They might take some time to get adjusted to their new environment. Just know that you might not get the growth rate on all of them at the same way. So just be patient. You might have to do some pruning on the more vigorous ones. So with that, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it enjoyable and helpful. And until my next video, take care and bye for now.
It's me, the Mario. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe and ring the notification bell so that way you don't miss out on any more content.